What is the number one thing that most people struggle with when it comes to health and fitness training? I think we all know. It's our eating habits. We love food. We love to eat, and there's so much of it, and sometimes it's very hard to, it's very hard to just change it. And today I want to basically give you guys a blueprint on how you can start changing your eating habits. Most importantly, put yourself in a better position to be more successful when it comes to this journey. Because it's really what holds most people back. And do everything that you go on a daily basis, I know how easy it is when you're going through a rough patch, when you're bored, when you're lonely, when you're depressed, when you're anxious, when you're stressed, to say, fuck it, I'm gonna have this pint of ice cream. Fuck it, I'm gonna have this bag of chips. And you're gonna watch a movie and you're gonna eat it all. It happens. It happens to the best of us. But there are ways to navigate around that. There are ways to overcome that. And there are ways to change these habits so therefore you could lose weight, build muscle, get lean, whatever you want to accomplish. You still have to conquer those eating habits, because if you want to accomplish something you don't conquer it, it'll never happen. And I'm just being honest with you. But let's get into it. But before we get into it, there's a few things I want you to understand. When it comes to your eating habits, the only way you can change it is, one, you actually have to realize that there's something that's happening that you don't like, you don't feel like doing anymore, and you actually want to change it. Most people struggle with their fitness journey because they're not willing to be honest with themselves. You're a binge eater. You're a late night snacker. You are categorized as that person, and you've categorized yourself that person. And if you don't change that, you will never lose the weight. You'll never get lean. You'll never build the muscle. Because at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. And that's the first step, is being honest with you. So therefore, you can put yourself in the best position to actually overcome this. Two, you have to figure out what these habits are, so therefore you can really deep dive into what triggers you to actually do certain things. Because guys, when it comes to changing habits, it just comes down to the trigger. Like, what's truly holding you back? Like, what made you do that? And I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a bad day, a coworker pissed you off, and you just ordered a whole thing of snacks from 7-Eleven, and you Uber Eats it, and you're just ready to munch in because you're stressed. You're like, damn, I just need food, I just need something. That right there could be a trigger. Being angry, being sad, being depressed, and then that might lead you to just overeating. So therefore, you need to identify these habits and triggers so you can actually change them. And then last but not least is just figuring out how we can navigate through this, how we can actually make this change happen, how we can actually get you from point A to Z and make it possible, make it doable, but most importantly, make it realistic so therefore you can actually sustain it. So you can turn those old habits into new ones and set new foundations that can last you a lifetime. Step one, take it slow. A lot of people, when they try to change their eating habits, they're just like, oh, I just need to hop on this diet, and I'm just going to do this diet for the next 3 to 6 months. That's not going to help you change your habit. No diet's going to ever help you change your habit. Why? Because here's the thing. The minute you hop on that diet, 2 weeks in, you start thinking about all the foods you miss. Seriously. You start thinking about everything that you miss. So the biggest thing is, you got to start small. Start with baby steps. For me, I'll give you an example. Let's say if you are my client and you struggle with binge eating, and you know that when it comes to what you're eating, it's just not healthy whatsoever. So from there on, I'll just start small with you. Look at what you're actually eating, how we can actually change it to where it's more healthy food, it's more whole food, it's more real food, and not just processed junk snacks, cookies. And then once we start making these small little changes over time, then we deep dive into your macros. And once we deep dive into your macros, then we deep dive into, hey, when it comes to macros, let's find ways for you to actually adhere to this certain amount, so therefore we can build up to this certain amount. Because at the end of the day, let's say you're eating 800 calories a day, which most people are severely under eating or severely overeating. So you need to start small, so therefore you can actually build your way back up to your maintenance, or you need to start small so therefore you can actually lower yourself in a deficit. Because at the end of the day, your body's not used to this process, so you have to make it used to this process by just making small little changes as you go. And it could look like this. Hey, I'm not a breakfast person, I've never been a breakfast person, but I always feel tired by 12 p.m. So hey, how about we start meal prepping breakfast, overnight oats, or we start cooking it 30 minutes before. We wake up 30 minutes before we go to work instead of 15, so therefore we can actually wake up and create a breakfast for yourself, which will give you more energy. And with more energy, you'll actually be more fulfilled to actually do things on a daily basis. And when you're actually more fulfilled to actually do things on a daily basis, lunch, instead of skipping it, you might actually say, okay, let me actually go for a walk around my job, so therefore I can go to this deli and get myself a nice deli sandwich. And once you get that deli sandwich, that might lead you to going later on to where, hey, I want to have a really good dinner. And now you're more fulfilled, you're more satisfied throughout the day. And because you didn't skip meal 1 and 2, you're less likely to overeat at the end of the day, because you're actually eating nutritious meals that leave you fuller, that leave you feeling better. And when you do that, that changes the way your end of your day ends. And when another thing you can do is journal. Journal when you're stressed out, when you're in a bad mood, when things are just not going your way, and what you do afterward. Seriously, journal it and you'll realize, holy shit, I was pissed off, I was depressed, and I ate 2 pounds of ice cream. And once you see that in writing, you'll be like, okay, I need to change that. Because if you just keep doing it, and we do it mindlessly, meaning we don't even think about it, we just go, go, go. And if you keep doing that, it's just gonna keep happening over and over again. And I'll be honest, I'll be realistic. Yesterday, this was a perfect example. I was basically coming from the gym, and I was just talking to a few guys at the gym because one of the managers I'm friends with, I went there to just check it out. And bro, I was leaving, I went to 7-Eleven to get a C4 because I was about to work afterwards. And I see this mom and her daughter, and I'm not gonna say anything, but literally they were buying a pot of ice cream. And I'm like, oh shit. And I was just talking about somebody about this, about how when it comes to, you know, family structure, when it comes to life, don't enable people. Because if you enable a certain person to do a certain thing, let's say that mom enabled her daughter to have that pint of ice cream because she had a bad day, then that's going to be the rest of her life. Because every time she has a bad day, she's only going to look towards that. So the biggest thing is you have to change the way you actually navigate these things. And that could be, hey, I'm stressed, mom. What else could I do? Go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk about it. You know, let's go to a therapist. Let's do something a little bit different that may be more productive. Most importantly, will benefit you more when it comes to your actual goals. So the biggest thing is, you actually have to look and write these things down, so therefore you can actually know how to change them. Because if you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, it becomes the rest of your life. And there's a lot of people that way, and you know a lot of people that way. So change it, write it down, and know what you're doing, so therefore you can actually implement steps to take action and change it. Next up, I want you to become more mindful, but be specific. Going back to journaling, going back to, you know, identifying your triggers, going back to really knowing how you feel in a certain way about a certain thing, something that could lead you to, let's say, binge eating, overeating. You have to be more mindful. Like, truly think when you're doing something. If I keep doing this, what's gonna happen? If I stop this, what's gonna happen? If I change this habit, what will it lead to? If I don't change this habit, what will it lead to? And truly put both into perspective. And here's the thing, if you're the type of person that I don't give a fuck, I want to binge eat, I want to overeat, I don't care, and that's gonna be me for the rest of my life, cool, go for it. But if you're somebody who actually says, I want to change this, I actually want to implement something new, you gotta start being more mindful about the things that you do. A lot of people, when it comes to being overweight, just because they're not mindful about things that they do on a daily basis. For example, there are guys that I know that are my age going out every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, going out drinking to these Knicks games, these baseball games. And I'm not saying you can't go and enjoy a game, but when it comes to starting a health and fitness journey, I ain't got no time. You have the time, bro. You're just not being mindful of your time. And when you're not being mindful of your time, over time, it's gonna fly by. And that's why people always say time flies. For me, I don't actually see time flies, because every day when I'm doing something, I look at the clock, I'm like, shit, can you just go a little faster? But at the end of the day, it's because I'm doing things that I've planned. I'm doing things that I'm being mindful about. I'm doing things that I know, like, oh, this is gonna lead to this reward. It's gonna lead to that reward. So for me, I'm very mindful about the time and how I utilize it. So therefore, for me, I don't see it as flying by. I see it as something that's helping me become more productive, most importantly, helping me set different standards and boundaries in my daily life, so therefore I could achieve the goals that I want to. But that all starts by being a lot more mindful. A lot of people don't even think about the things that they do, things that they eat, how it makes them feel, and they just go with it and they think it's normal. Guys, diabetes is not normal. Guys, being overweight is not normal. Having your kid 6 years old being overweight is not normal. Having a 16-year-old with IBS, Crohn's disease, autoimmune diseases is not normal, and we're making it a norm, and it's kind of scary. So become more mindful about the things that you do, how you do them, and most importantly, how they make you feel. If it makes you feel like shit and it gives you the runs to go to the bathroom, it's kind of telling you, hey, how about we stop eating that and try to find something else. Seriously. Alright? And now going to the next one. You've got to be realistic. And when I say realistic is you're not going to be perfect. Literally. You know how many guys, let's say, are trying to quit porn. And they say, I'm going to quit porn. They stop for 3 months and then 1 month they just go off. Pause. Pause. But you know what I mean? Oh shit, I did not mean to say it like that. Alright, but you get what I'm saying, right? I was about to say it again, let me sound this out. But you have to be realistic, right? And then they beat themselves down, and now it goes right back to the pattern that they were doing. Instead, what you should be doing is, if that happens, say, hey, we messed up today, it's okay. Pick it back up tomorrow and just keep going. And I'll be honest, that was me at one point when I was trying to quit watching porn, and there were days I would just relapse, and then it would come back up again. But over time, I realized that those relapses were not meant to, keep me in this position or keep me feeling a certain way, keep me watching this shit. Those relapses were saying, hey, this is what you're trying to push away from, and this is how it makes you feel. And for me, I was like, oh, let me keep moving forward. Let me keep going. And over time, in a year, 2, 3, 4 years, it started changing. And now I don't even look at it anymore. I don't even see it anymore. Most importantly, I got me a beautiful girlfriend, so I don't need that shit. But you gotta be realistic, man. If you're not realistic about where you're at and where you're trying to be, it will never happen. A lot of people have unrealistic expectations about their fitness journey. They're severely overweight and they think they're going to be perfect at it. And when they get beat down, struggle a little bit, they're like, oh, this is not meant for me. No, that actually means it's exactly meant for you. Because God is showing you, hey, this is going to be a challenge, but at the end of the day, you expected that. You knew it was going to be a challenge. And you have to be realistic enough to say, I'm willing to accept this challenge, so therefore I can actually step outside that challenge and become the person I'm truly trying to become. A lot of people are severely overweight and they start running a little bit to get out of gas and like, oh, this is not meant for me. No, this is exactly why you need to do this. You're literally out of breath from going up and down the stairs. Be realistic here. You being out of breath from doing this exercise is not telling you it's not meant for you. It's telling you this is exactly where you need to be so you can get better. So you gotta be realistic and you gotta set realistic expectations of yourself. And know that yes, you might go 5 days straight being perfect and one day you mess up. Do not let that one day relapse into another year of you doing the same old thing, keeping you the same way. Take that one day and say, hey, it fucking happened, bro. Fuck you. I'm gonna keep moving forward. And literally, if you do that, you will be a lot more successful than the people that just keep up and down. And because whenever they have a down, they let that down become the rest of their week, the rest of the month, and the rest of your year. Don't be that person. Be realistic, set realistic expectations, actually take things slow, set realistic changes in your day-to-day life that you'll actually stick to. And I'll give you a quick little game plan. Let's say you're overweight, you're trying to lose weight, and you eat junk all day. First thing I'd say is, look at your favorite foods. And then from there on, I want you to increase the protein intake in your foods. 1. From there on, I want you to change the quality of your food. So if you're eating burgers from, let's say, Wendy's, how about you start making burgers yourself? That could be a way of eating healthier, most importantly, keeping your calories low. Burgers aren't bad. It's just the burgers from Wendy's with seed oils, all this junk is bad. Ain't real food. Versus when you actually have a ground beef, you roll it up, you smash it together, you make a burger, you get your own buns, you get your own beef, you get your own seasoning. That is completely different from what you get from the store. Instead of going to the restaurant and getting a whole plate of pasta, go home and create it for yourself. So therefore you can actually look at the macros, look how much pasta you're putting in, because you know their portion sizes are fucking humongous. So therefore you can predict what you're actually eating, how much you're eating. That's a way of being realistic and actually setting realistic standards for yourself. And another thing, let's say you're overweight and you're trying to lose weight. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to go to the gym every day for every single day and meal prep every day, how about you meal prep for 3 days? And then slowly see how that makes you feel. And then over time, increase it from 3 to 4 through 5. And keep making those small changes until it actually turns into that big picture. But do not aim for perfection and just aim for progression. But that is all, fam. And changing your eating habits is something that's challenging, but it's very doable. And again, don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress. If you progress in being more mindful, if you progress in actually journaling and tracking what you're eating, if you progress in being realistic with yourself and your standards and what you're actually doing, how you can actually change it, you will actually change these habits in the long run, and you will create successful habits so you can pass on to your kids, to your family, to your mother, to your dad. And that's what I want for you guys, is to be able to actually hone in a certain level of focus, discipline, most importantly, consistency for yourself. So therefore you could share it with the world, share it with everybody else, share it with the person that you know who needs it the most. A lot of people, say, oh, I want to lose weight. And then you ask them, why do you want to lose weight? They would say, I want to do it for my kids. And then we tell them, okay, cool, let's get started. Oh, I don't have the time. Look at your kids. Do you think they'd, especially if they're overweight, are you giving them time or are you removing time from them? Because at the end of the day, if you're not willing to make that change now, you're losing time. You have the time. Just make the time. 99.9% of the time we have the time. Most people just don't want to make it. They don't want to sit down, write out a schedule. They don't want to sit down and implement something new for themselves. But if you do those little things, it will actually put you ahead of everybody. It will actually put you in a position to where you're like, damn, I do have the time. I could change this, I could change that, I can make that happen, I can do this. And that's when everything starts changing. Is when you realize that all the excuses you've been telling yourself are literally just excuses. And you could literally change everything with just one little action step, one word, one notebook, one saying, one phrase, one suggestion, one little practice, you could do this, fam. You could do this. Come on now. Come on. If you want to change these habits and actually truly be successful on this journey, I challenge you to implement everything that I just told you within this video. And if you do that, you will overcome these things. But don't just look at it like, I can't do it. Don't try. Try and really try for a damn year, and I promise you, 3 months and you'll be like, damn, I'm gonna do this for the next 5, 10 years, maybe 60. You never know. But yeah, man, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope this one truly helps you overcome your eating habits. Hope you find new success in your journey, new success, new energy, most importantly, more growth than ever before. Because that's really what I want for you, to become the best version of yourself, the healthiest version of yourself, the best, sexiest human possible. You look in the mirror like, I look good. But not seriously, man. Love yourself, be proud of yourself, and most importantly, keep pushing yourself to be a little better every single day. Hope you have the best day ever. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. Peace!